Hey, I'm Alex Radical from BoardGameCo, and today I'm going to show you 10 games on BoardGameArena that are great to play solo. Whether you are someone who is new to solo gaming, some of these might make a great choice to go ahead and dive in for the first time, particularly the first one I'm going to show you, great intro to solo gaming game, in my opinion. Others of these, you might already be a solo gamer, but they're a good way to go ahead and get some solo gaming in on BoardGameArena, either because you're just trying to get more games played, and sometimes you just don't want to set up a game, other times because you want to explore new games and see what else is out here. So here are 10 games that I think are great to play solo on BoardGameArena. Not just the games, I'll also be diving into a few turns of each of these, which means as you go through this video, feel free to skip from timestamp to timestamp if at any point you're like, I don't want to see you play that game. Because I'm not going to be playing full games, but I'm going to be walking you through a few turns, kind of to take a lot of the work out. I'm not doing full rules videos for you, but I'm taking some of the interface aspects out, some of the general idea of what you're trying to do. So it's going to be like a game, the pick in the list, and then like maybe a minute or two of gameplay for each of these. With that, we're going to be starting off strong with one of my favorite solo games to play, one of my favorite distractions when I just want something to throw me for a loop rather than browsing Facebook, and that's going to be Tranquility. Tranquility is our #1 game over here. We're going to go ahead and start off solo. This is a great cooperative game as well, by the way. It plays well solo, plays well, cooperatively, but it's basically a game of trying to put things into this grid. I'm realizing I kind of have to hide myself over here. Let me go ahead and hide myself. Top camera. Let's me hide. There we go. I'm gone to the thing. Okay, we'll be changing that in and out as we go through this. But for Tranquility over here, the basic idea is you are going to be gathering cards and place them into a grid. So for example, I'm going to go ahead and take this 37. It's around the halfway mark. I'm going to dump it over here. Then I'm going to go ahead and draw up at the end of my turn. You're trying to build a sequence going from the bottom all the way to the top corner. So you're going to go 1, then there, then there, then there, going to the top corner, and you have 80 numbers. But when you place cards next to each other, you have some more rules around them. I'm going to take that 30, I'm going to dump it there. It's a little risky because we have 31, 32, 33, but it's early enough in the game that makes sense to do so. The 28 is going to go here. That's an easy choice. I'm separating these intentionally. I'm specifically not placing cards next to each other because as soon as you do that, that's going to cause other issues for you because you'll have to discard cards. This 19, I'll separate by a few spots as well, dump it over there. I'll put the 16 over here, and then I'll show you what I mean by discarding cards. When you place a card between other cards, you have to discard the number that is the lowest separation. So for example, 18 is 2 away from 16, and it's 1 away from 19. So I place this down over here, and then I'm going to have to discard any one card. In this case, I'll discard the 33. No, I want that 33 actually. I'm going to discard the 23, because I'll place the others up top. So from there, we're going to go ahead and take the 33, dump it in the middle over here. We can put a 31 or a 32 here. Keeping in mind, we have a full deck of 77 cards to go through, but there are some complexities. I have the sea monsters in my game over here. That's going to be another card that I'm going to have to go ahead and discard other cards throughout the game. That's going to give you a basic idea of how to play Tranquility. You're trying to build out a sequence, and you're working with card economy as the main thing that's holding you back. So you need to be careful as far as how that plays out as you go through the game. So that's going to be our #1 pick, which is Tranquility. Moving on to #2, we have Welcome to Your Perfect Home. Now, the one downside of this solo is this very much is a beat your own score kind of game, but the good news is I use BG stats, which means I do actually have a record of my own score when I play it solo, but that said, I don't love beat your own score as a game mechanism, but nonetheless, it's still a good enough fun solo game that I enjoy playing this. Now, if you've played Welcome to Your Perfect Home, the main difference over here when you play it solo is going to be you have 3 cards each round. You have a total of 79 cards to go through over here, or I guess 82 because you're counting these, and every round you get 3 cards. You pick 1 for the number and 1 for the ability. You're trying to create these 3 blocks while trying to optimize your scoring and being mindful of these goals. So for example, without overthinking it too much, I'm going to grab that 12. I do like high numbers. I'm going to combine it with the forest over here, and I'm going to place that down on this block in this spot, and that's going to let me scratch off a tree. Each of the abilities is going to give you different things from the way you're going to be building fences, building pools, building forests, all these different things you can do as you go through it. Over here we have a business one. I do like getting the businesses in. A nice early 3 is also pretty good. So we're going to grab the 3 and dump the 3 down over here. We're going to take it with the business. We're going to put this down here. And that'll give us some room to also scratch this off, getting some early things. Now, the business ones do cost you points, so you want to be mindful of that over here because you will lose points if you go through too many of them. But in the solo game, more so than the regular game, you are working with a limited number of cards. If you want to fill your rows, you're going to need to take some of those things. So as always, you're trying to choose and prioritize what you think is the lowest cost to you. Now, I do see over here we have 2 6s, we have 3, 3, and 4, and we have 2 and 5, meaning these are effectively the neighborhood scoring goals. There is a card shuffled into the bottom half of the deck over here, and when that comes up, you're only going to score the second half on these goals. So you're working against your own timer and a limited amount of cards. I think I'll take the 11 force for right now because I'm not entirely sure what else I want to do. The 11 fits nicely over here, allows us to move up the force, getting that higher point number. We'll go through a few more turns, but you're basically trying to build out these blocks. Now, you don't have to go exactly sequentially. It's actually a little similar to Tranquility, meaning I don't have to place a 4 here. I could place a 5 here and skip the 4, but you do have to go in ascending order on each of the blocks. You also have fences, which you're going to draw between lines, which will create clusters of houses, which can be used for these, and also you're going to increase your neighborhood scoring over here. So a little bit of a puzzle going on that you're trying to manage. We could place this 13 down over here. If I do that this early, it means I am kind of giving up on pools, and I don't know if I want to give up on pools just yet. So I'll go ahead and take this 5, and I'll dump it down on this spot. I'll add it with a multiplier over here, and I think we're going to go ahead and make our 6 blocks a little higher. So we're going to take our 6 blocks and make those a little higher scoring. We'll take another turn over here, and again, I'm focusing on 1 block right now, just because I find that it's a little easier for me to get that in, especially with this 4 and the forest. That's an easy choice. Continue to build that out, but you are going to be working towards building out your entire sets over here while using these limited number of cards, and then trying to score for the goals, as well as all the scoring criteria, which are the force for each of the blocks, the pools you have. Whenever you have a pool, you can build it. In fact, let's go ahead and do a pool just to show you right now. We're going to take a pool and 7 and drop it there. Because we took a pool card and built it in a pool spot with one of these pools, we're going to move up on this track over here and get points for that as well. That may not have been optimal play. I like to go all or nothing on these, but still something to consider as you go through it. And so that's going to be the welcome to your perfect home. From there we have Harmonies. Harmonies is another great one. Small change from the cooperative game. By the way, most of these games, very few of these games, if any, are specifically solo. I think two of these games are specifically solo. The rest are cooperative, and in fact, one of them is actually a competitive game. I don't know why I said one of them's solo. That's only one of them is specifically solo. A few of them are competitive, and a few of them are cooperative. I completely lied when I said that other information a second ago. We're going to go ahead and start off now over here. Now again, Harmonies is also going to have a revised drafting mode for the game. So if you played Harmonies, very similar. Instead of a bunch of 5 tokens over here, instead of having 5 piles, you're going to instead have only 3 piles of tokens to take from. And again, you're working with a limited number of tokens, but more often than not, you are going to be running out of space on your personal board. So in general, you're going to start with one of these cards over here, choose one of 2 spirits. I think I'll go with the one that, I think I'll take this one over here. This one will let me score extra points for my forests in the game, which is a nice little challenge. And then I'm going to try to figure out how to work my way towards that because I do need those little ground spots. I could go for this one. This is certainly not a bad one to pair up with that. So I think we're going to take our 2 forests over here. We're going to place this down. Let me think. If I'm working my way towards, let's see. We're going to take the green over here. We'll place it here. Does that work for me? Because I can go 1, 2, 3 up, and I can go 1, 2, 3 like that. Yeah, we're going to do that over here, and then work my way towards this over here and this over here. So we're going to try to build that in that direction over there. We'll end our turn. We'll go ahead and take some tokens over here. You're going to refill the display. If you didn't draft a card from this, then you can discard one. If you did draft a card, then don't worry about discarding ones. I need some dirt, unfortunately. I do need dirt. That is tricky to manage to get. Getting this over here is certainly not bad. Combined with that, I don't mind going for that. Let's go ahead and take this card over here and then start working our way towards some forest over here in a completely separate area of the board. We'll take one of these. We'll pop one there. We'll pop one there, and then we'll pop these. Now, when you're playing Harmonies, you do want to be mindful you're scoring for the patterns of the cards, but you're also going to be scoring for the various tokens themselves. They all have an innate scoring system to each token. We do have that dirt down here, which is nice, but I don't love the fact that these other tiles aren't really going to help me in any way. I think we'll still take this and work our way towards some of that dirt so we can place this out over here. I don't know what we're going to do with these right now. We could place this down here, and we could shove this into a corner, although we also could place it here, because it already would score. I don't know how it's going to work into my cards, but it is what it is. Then we're going to go ahead and end my turn, and we could discard a card because we didn't take a new card. To that end, because we are already working our way towards some of these, ooh, this is actually not the worst, but I'm going to get rid of it. I don't think I want that one. Okay, we're going to go ahead and take another one over here, take an animal card, or choose color tokens. Again, we are low on dirt, unfortunately. I think we'll grab some more of these because these could be useful to go ahead and get these out for a bunch of scoring mechanisms over here. And we'll put this, which is already going to result in this building scoring, or we need one more building type. One more building type around it, but that should be fine. And we'll discard this card from the river. I don't want those 1 forests. I'm trying to get some reds in here, but it is what it is. We do have this, which could be useful, or we could work our way towards a very long river, which is not bad when you combine it with this card. I think we'll start working our way towards that long river. We want to get this going 1, 2. Okay, that makes sense actually. So if we place this over here like so, and then this over here like so, oh, this actually works really well. We can work our way towards this singular spot over here and take all 3 of those going 1, 2, 1, 2, and 1, 2. And we also can grab this card because that will scale nicely as we add some yellows both to over here as well to over here. That's going to easily clear out the yellows for us. So we're going to end my turn. We could place a cube down. Let's go ahead and grab this. Because we have the pattern scored, we're going to place it on here. We've cleared one of our spots over there. This is an easy one. We're going to grab these 3 right here because we want all of those to go 1 and then 2 on this. That's going to allow us to actually build those out. Now we do have... The problem is now we don't have a clear reason why we're building up elsewise, but I think we'll go ahead and place this down here all the same. I think it's an easy spot to do so, but I'm trying to also be mindful of this now at this point because we now have that. That can go there and there. I don't fully love that, but we can make it work maybe. Let's go ahead and build this spot up over here. We're going to end our turn and take one more turn. We'll discard from the river this card, and then we'll continue with another turn. So, and then with this, we'll call this the last turn for right now. So we can take this and put it on that, which is nice. We get another river spot. We have one of these. I think this is actually not a bad one to take right now. So we're going to take this over here. We'll place this down here, which will allow us to fulfill this goal, and place it on that. Why is it not doing that? There we go. We'll take this and put this down over here, which will allow us to fill this goal twice. We can do that one over here, and then as well we can also do it over here. So we got 2 of those cleared, and when we place another river over here, we'll be able to clear it again, and then we'll place this down over here. And that is that's going to be game number 3. Moving on to game number 4, we have Trailblazers. Now Trailblazers is one of my favorite games in general. I think it's an amazing drafting game, and it plays well solo as well as multiple game modes. We're going to be playing the basic solo mode over here. Let's go ahead and play through, let's do the level 1 over here. Well, technically it's not level 1, there's several levels to go through, but when you play this, you can choose one of the scenarios to play as, and it's going to give you the configuration from the actual solo game. But in general, this is a drafting game. When you play it solo, you're not going to be drafting. Instead, you're going to be simulating drafting by having a hand of 8 cards, then taking 2 of those, then going ahead and drafting 6 more, not really drafting, drawing 6 more. Over here, we have to get 50 points and solve the Hiker's Quartet by the beginning of the 4th round. So you have 4 rounds in this game, and we have to do Hiker's Quartet, which is 4 hiking loops. To that end, starting off with the hiking camp usually makes sense, and we're trying to create these various loops of cards around the camps. So for example, we can take this card, which would make sense for what we're trying to do, and then build this around over here like so. And then we have all these other cards, but I don't know if there's a clear next step card to take, unfortunately. This is actually really not the best starting situation as far as these cards go, but I'm sure I can maybe still work with it, he says confidently. We can take this and put it down over here. We're going to put it over here and just rotate it and just deal with that consequence. We're going to confirm we got our first 2 cards out. We're going to draw 6 new cards, and then these are hopefully a little better. We do in fact have much better options over here. We could place this like this. If we take this and slide it like so, we have that working our way towards that, but I don't love that overall. I'd rather put this one down here like this. No, let's go ahead and place this. Let's place this one like this. I think this one works nicely over there. And then we're going to take this one and place it down over here. I think this one works nicely as far as that goes. Although I don't love that over there. Maybe we should instead put it down over here. And then we can have it like this, and this can loop around, but I don't love that either. In fact, we're going to undo that card selection and place this one down over here. I think this is a little better. Poises us nicely for setting ourselves up for the next round over there. We're going to confirm over here. We'll play it out. We are trying to build loops over here. Colors of the same path have to be connected to count as a loop. If you have these 2 over here, for example, this does not count as a proper closed loop. But then from there, we can take this and put this down over here, I assume. Can we nicely make that that work over here. If we place it like this, we can place one more here and a circle there, and I think that works nicely enough that I like the general optics of it. But then we still have to worry about the rest over here. This one, we need a circle, a full circle roundabout over there, and we have this can go over here if we do it like so. And that could help us as far as we need to shrink out a bit over here. So we got that, works in nicely. I think we can still do this. We can still work with this. Okay, so this is overall pretty decent. We're going to go ahead and confirm that is round 1. It also sets up nicely for round 2 because we can place the second camp over here, which is going to nicely work as far as that spot, connecting to those pathways. And then we're going to continue. We really want some loop arounds, which we're not getting some loop arounds, but we can still make it kind of work, we optimistically say. We'll figure it out. But over here, we are going to take this and put it there. Does that work? No, that doesn't work over here. We're trying to get a brown. This can go here possibly. Let's see. If we do like that and like that, that works decently enough, but also a little bit ambitious as far as things go, but we can still work with it, so we're going to do so. And then we can take this one. That's going to close around to that. No, we're going to take this and put it like so. Do we want to do that? Is that worth it, or is it too crazy? I don't yet know. We'll make it work and see what happens. We're going to confirm. We'll take another few turns, and then we'll stop over here. I'm zooming far out at this point. We really need those brown loop arounds because we're not getting them. This one, unfortunately, is not going to give us what we want. That one could work as far as we want a red or a blue. We want a blue or red. This actually works fine as far as this goes. We're going to cycle that like so. That's going to complete a closed loop and give us this little bit of red, which we may or may not actually use, but we still need another card, which is why we're going to grab this one over here, placing it over here, which extends this, which is probably a horrible mistake, but hey, I've never actually been particularly good at this game. I just enjoy playing it. We are still running with this one over here, which is not going to help us either. This one's not helping us. That's not helping us. We got a whole lot of things that are just not helping us, unfortunately, but we could place this over there. Nope, that's not going to work. We probably should worry about setting ourselves up for the blue for next round. So to that end, I think what we'll do is place this over here, which that will allow us, nope, that feels too ambitious. I feel like I'm being too ambitious. We're going to undo that one over there. We're going to place this over here like so, and that gives us another one to work with as far as looping back around. And then we also are setting ourselves up a little bit for that blue spot over there, and then we'll take this one, This one can also go over here on top of that, overlaying the card, and that'll give us a nice little blue to set ourselves up with. That's going to be round 2. We'll have to play this out for 2 full more rounds, but we're going to go ahead and pause and go to the next one right about now. To that end, we're going to game number 5 over here, which is Cartographers. Game number 5 is Cartographers. Cartographers is a great solo game as well. Again, the only downside is beat your own score, as opposed to Trailblazers. I like a lot more as far as generally having a specific goal to work for. But in Cartographers, again, if you've played Cartographers, this is pretty straightforward. You're going to be going ahead and continuing the basic game of Cartographers. There is a rule set for how to draw monsters when they come out. The best part of playing on BGA is the game's going to take care of that for you. You don't have to worry about it or think about it at all. In general, in Cartographers, you're going to have specific goals you're working towards, and then you just get these cards every round that's going to give you the specifics that you're drawing onto your board. So in this case, we have to draw one of these 2 shapes, and we have to cover a runes. We also are being mindful of the fact that we're going to earn points, specifically 3 points for each farm space on a rune space, so that kind of couldn't have been better had we tried. So we are going to go ahead and do that, although in this case, because of the specific scoring goals, I think I'm going to try to take this coin system as well. To get that coins in, we're going to cycle that and place it down over here. That's going to give us a coin, and we're already on a runes. We'll play out a full round for the first round, and at the end of round 1, we're going to be scoring for every single village space in the largest cluster of village spaces that is not adjacent to a mountain. Right now, we're drawing any one single space anywhere, which is a great time to go ahead and put another one of these on a runes. We do want to be careful. Oh, we already had one of these guys come out. Wow, I missed that earlier. So we're going to place that out. We're going to draw it down over there. It's going to be another 3 points given to us straight, and it's going to score both in round 2. Sorry, both in round 1 and also in round 4. Basically, in round 1, you score goals A and B. In round 2, you score B and C, then C and D, and then D and A. Every goal will score twice. We also have another one of these, which means we are sort of kind of buying into our runes very quickly, which is a dangerous game to play, but it's a game that I don't mind playing unless I want to go ahead and do that with... I could instead go for the points by being next to our runes. I'd get 2 points if I do this one right. Do I want to do that and be a little bit more mindful? I don't know. You know, we're going to go ahead and burn through our runes. We're just going to do it. We're going to burn through our runes, and it's going to be a good day, and we're all going to enjoy ourselves. We are going to try to circle that mountain over there. We're just going to get chock full of points for that. And we do have this one anyway, although this one would have worked beautifully over there. Unfortunately, we did not do that. So now we can go ahead and try to figure out the best place to put this. And I think trying to place this over here will both block off a space and be next to runes. It's certainly not the worst. We're going to go ahead and take that one and mark that off over there, also taking the coin. Then we're going to continue with this. Awesome. We have, okay, we're going to be scoring a point for each red that is not next to a mountain space. So we are going to try to go ahead and do that. And we're going to try to circle off the monsters over here to try to deny them at least another point, because why not? I think that's smart enough to do. We do want that. The extra 2 points is probably worth it over the coin, although not necessarily, because the coin will score 4 times. And this is 2. This is going to score. This is worth it. We're going to do that one over here. Although the main aspect, this could go down here, but then we wouldn't score because it's next to a mountain. I think I'm happy with where it is. So we're going to do that over there. Then we're going to go ahead and continue. Taking another one of these, we have more of these. So this is going to score even more points, which is great. We unfortunately can't put it next to a mountain, although we could, if we want, we could try to get the 1 point from this or the 4 from this. I think the 4 makes more sense overall, and we're going to take the advantage of actually placing this along here, where it can go ahead and close those gaps up nicely. Then we have one more card to go through, because we get to go until we have a total of 8 over here. That's going to be the tracking over here. You have 8 points worth of cards effectively, and we got another one of these, which is a little insane for how much of this we're going to be able to bank early on. If we can, I think we'll have to flip it. If we flip it, if we reverse it, and we place it like so, then we're still not touching a mountain. We do have this single bit of dead space over here. I don't know if that's actually going to cost me anyway, so I think it's worth doing. So we're going to go ahead and place this here, and then we're going to score for our first round. So at the end of season 1, you're going to see what you score over here. We're going to score 10 points for our various, the 3 plains, the farmland on runes, and then 1 water next to it. That's 3 times 3 plus 1. We score 14 points for all of these reds over here. We score 2 points for our coins, and we lose 3 points for the monsters. Each open space next to a monster that you didn't fill in is going to cost you a point. And we have a very strong round 1 with 23 points. Points in this game usually go higher and magnify, which is a really good starting point overall. That's going to be round 1 of Cartographers, which means we move to our next game, game number 6, which is for Northwood. Oh, I accidentally didn't type in the new one over here for Northwood because I was in the middle of it last time. Anyways, we're going to go ahead and start again. Again, this has a solo mode. It has a general just point scoring solo, but also has a scenario-based solo, which is definitely what I recommend going through. I think it's a fantastic game. Highly recommend this one. This is solo trick-taking. That's the general idea. The scenario we're playing in has a specific rule. This is scenario 1. Each scenario is different, but the specific scenario over here, we're going to play, we'll play with the challenge, which means we only get 3 cards over here. But basically, we're going to be visiting different fiefs and trying to math our way into predictability to control how many we think we can win. Right now, we are looking at a strong hand of these blacks over here, which is a good time. If I've ever seen a good time to go for the trump suit over here, we're going to go for the Prince of Claws right now. We're going to pass on activating an ally ability. We're going to start off strong. We already played a 1 over there, so we already won the first one, which a lot of things happen pretty quickly over there. Let me hide my face again so you can see it over there. But basically, we're trying to win the suits over here, but we're trying to win exactly 7, and we have certain abilities we can utilize. Right now, I'm comfortable going into the next and see what happens. We have an 8 come out, which means right now we could choose to lose, or we could play one of our cards over here specifically to win, which I think we're going to do. We're going to go ahead and play our 8, because that's the trump suit. We're currently facing off against a black card, which means 8 is the trump suit in this fief. So we're going to go ahead and place our other 8s in as well. The fact that you place the same number, if you win a trick, you place the other numbers of that suit into the score pile, and if you lose, you discard the other numbers of that suit. That's the specific scenario rules we're playing as. So we're going to score those. So we scored 5 cards. Keep in mind, we're trying to score exactly 7 cards. Not more, not less, exactly. That's why I'm going to go ahead and use this ability. In between each draw, you can use ability. I'm going to discard 2 cards whose values sum to exactly 9. By getting rid of those 2 cards, I'm going to have a ton of control. The only thing that can ruin my plans at this point would be if I were to draw a black 5, and even then I don't think it's possible. I think I'm guaranteed the win at this point because I want to win 2 more cards, so I'm going to place this one over here, which is going to guarantee the win. Then we're going to go ahead and pass to activate the next ability. We'll guarantee the win again, and then we have a guaranteed loss because whatever happens, that 1 is going to definitely be a loss no matter what. And there we go. That was a perfect suit over there, which means we won against that. You need to repeat that against all these different fiefs. You have 0 through 7 as far as the number of tricks you have to win. So you have to go into each of these, kind of trying to read your hand, see where your hands are stronger or weak, and then make predictive choices as far as which fief you're going to take on next. That's basically it. I just did 1 out of the 7 fiefs, the 8 fiefs I'll need to conquer. You don't need to get a completely perfect score to beat it. I think you need 17 or 16 stars, if I'm not mistaken, and there are a variable number of stars on the backs of each of these as far as when you try to win them. Which brings us to our next game. Game 6 over here. We did 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, so up to, I guess up to 4. Game number 4, if you're counting down over here. Although I'm not so sure if I'm counting down. These aren't ranked as far as best to worst. These are ranked as far as the easiest to dive into versus the less easy to dive into. Then over here we have Pandemic. Pandemic, despite being a more cooperative game, is a great game to play solo in my opinion. This is a very solid game to jump into and just go through a few turns. I've done this several times. I don't even own Pandemic anymore. I think it's a fantastic game, but playing this two-handed solo is just a fun way to pass like 15 minutes and just go through this. This is Pandemic if you haven't seen it. It's a cooperative game of trying to survive the diseases. Right now the board's placing initial diseases on the board, so we have 3 in Essen and 3 in Milan, as well as 3 in Tehran. So it's nice of the game to have these nicely clustered for us. That's going to give us a little bit more control over here. We also are playing with the Medic and the Dispatcher. The Medic's going to be able to be very good at controlling things. So the Medic wants to jump to Montreal. No. We have Delhi, Osaka, and Tokyo. I wish the Dispatcher was going first. Oh, the Dispatcher is going first. So in that case, if the Dispatcher simply moves the Medic, yeah, I think that makes the most sense. The Dispatcher is going to move the Medic to Chicago. Oh, and then I think that's it for then. We'll just clear those out by ourselves. And then from there, that's done. So we move that. We use 1 action to move the Medic to Chicago. And then I think from there, we could probably just go to Los Angeles ourselves. I guess so. I'm not like thrilled about it, but we'll go ahead and, yeah, we'll move to Los Angeles. So we're going to go ahead and move the Dispatcher to Los Angeles, and then down to Los Angeles, and that's 2 actions, and then we're done, we've chosen that, then we're going to treat Los Angeles, taking an action to clear that out. At the end of your turn, you're going to draw cards, keeping in mind you have a hand limit of 7 cards, although we just got 2 of these abilities right now, which gives us a lot of control. We might actually use that right now to really get control. Then we're going to go ahead and draw infection cards, so we have 2 infection cards. Karachi's going to come out with a cube. That was that only 1. Infection in Karachi. Dispatcher receives airlift. What am I missing? Draw infection card. We draw another one. And we have Lagos spawning 1. Great. It's now the Medic's turn. The Medic can clear multiple cubes with a single one, so we're going to go ahead and treat both of those. Then we're going to play the event, and we're going to have specifically airlift to move the Medic directly to Essen, where you can start clearing things. So then it's going to clear in Essen, then move to Milan and clear Milan, using all their actions at once to completely clear them. They're going to draw their cards, keeping in mind that the main goal is you're trying to get to 5 cards of one color in order so that you can go ahead and cure the disease. Once you cure all 4 diseases, you win the game. So now, right about now, we do have a little bit of a risk factor in the sense that Tehran and Petersburg, again, they clustered Petersburg. This is a good turn for us. We're going to go ahead and draw an infection card, hoping it's not either of these 2. We have Essen, which we already cleared, fortunately. As long as it's not St. Petersburg, Tehran, we are fine. It is Karachi. Okay, great. We're going to take another turn or two, another few turns, and kind of walk you through this. But basically, every single turn, you're adding cubes to the board. You're trying to outpace the cubes and ensure that there's never more than 3 in a spot, because once you overflow to 4, you get an outbreak, and too many outbreaks cause you to lose the game, as well as having any of the cube supplies depleted or running out of cards. The way you win the game is by gathering 5 cards of the same color, and then at a research station, going ahead and cashing them in to cure the disease. You also get benefits for curing the disease, which is another factor as well. So, we currently have Dispatcher. We are going to move the Medic again, because I think the Medic to St. Petersburg just makes sense overall, because then you can clear up both of these on their next turn. So when you're done over there, we might want to use Forecast, because then we can ensure that none of those are going to draw right now, which gives us a lot of control. We're also going to treat Los Angeles, and then from there, I think we do want to get to Manila, perhaps. There are benefits to getting to Manila, so if we go down from Los Angeles to Sydney over here, and then perhaps to Jakarta next. But then from there we want to draw our cards, but we're also going to play our event. So we're going to use Forecast, which will allow us to rearrange the top cards, keeping in mind that we want to ensure that St. Petersburg and Tehran are not in the queue, and sure enough, Tehran would have been in the queue. So we're going to move that lower down into the supply. As long as it's not the next one over there, I think we should be fine. But just in case, you know, yeah, we'll do that over there. Forecast done. Perfect. Then it's now, we have Milan and Mumbai come out over here. We're going to treat in St. Petersburg, and then we're going to move down to Tehran and treat in Tehran. So the medic is keeping everything completely clear, and then we're going to draw cards. A big part of the puzzle of this game is really trying to ensure you get the cards to each other, which means right now we have these black cards, which the dispatcher gives you a lot of control over going to the same area, because you can exchange cards if you're in the same place. So if I'm in Istanbul with the other character, I can give or take Istanbul from them, which means a lot of coordination, but the alternative is you keep discarding cards that you aren't benefiting from. Either way, that's kind of enough over here to show you Pandemic, which means we move on to game 3 against 8 or 3, depending which direction you're counting. This one's going to be Daybreak. This is arguably the newest game on the list. I'm pretty sure it's the newest game from all of these games. It's actually from the same creator as Pandemic, so it's got that world saving aspect, but with an entirely different theme to it. This game plays great cooperatively and great solo. I think it plays best at 2 and solo. Once you go to higher player counts, I think it's a little overwhelming. But the general idea is similar to Pandemic. You are having bad things happen and you're trying to stay ahead of it. But it's very different than Pandemic in every other sense of it. Basically, we're going to start with one of these cards over here. Whenever a player starts a local project, we'll go ahead and take this one right now. I'm not going to overthink this right now because I want to kind of show you how this works. But effectively, you're trying to ensure that you can stay on top of the various negative emissions in the game. You have a negative emissions from all of these and from your dirty energy, which means you're trying to pivot to getting clean energy. And at the end of each round, you're going to be generating carbon for all of your emissions. So we have 14 emissions and 6 dirty energy for a total of 20, which means we're generating 20, as you can see over here, but we have sequestered 10. Your forests and oceans on the board will sequester your negative emissions, which means you're generating 10 total if nothing else were to change. That's going to be enough to generate 2 full bands of your heat going up on this spot over here, which generates bad things happening. So you're trying to do a lot of this stuff to keep everything in check, and it's not always the easiest. To that end, we're going to go ahead, we can draw 5 and keep 1. That's a pretty good card draw system. Over here, though, if we can get these plugs over here, oh, I like this plug. This, we could place this down over here. You know what, I think we're not going to heavily worry about this. We could put this behind there and draw that. Ooh, I don't love it overall. So we're going to go ahead and draw this one, placing on top of this, okay, like so. That's basically when you, with the cards in your hand, you can place them underneath a card to give it its symbols, or on top of a card to give its ability. I just placed nuclear R&D on top of a card that I don't think I'll use, and instead I'm going to activate nuclear R&D, which has drawn 9 cards and keep all cards that have those tags. Keeping in mind, sometimes when you do that, you only get 1 card. That absolutely can happen. From there, we are going to go ahead and tuck this behind Dirty Fit Electric Phase Out, because we can go ahead and discard a card to get rid of 1 dirty energy per pink tag. Since we have those pink tags over there, that's going to allow us to do that. But before we do that, I think we're going to activate clean energy, which allows us to discard a card to draw 5 and keep 1, which might give us an opportunity to get another tag. So I'm going to go ahead and activate this over here, and I think I'm going to activate it to do doing the crisis. We're going to go ahead and wait, what did I do? Method remove it. We'll cancel. What did I do? Okay, we put this down over here. I forgot to hit confirm. Nope. We're going underneath the card. We hit confirm. Then we're going to activate clean R&D. We're going to discard this card over here, which means now we're going to draw 5 cards and pick one. We didn't get a single one of those pink tags. Again, that kind of thing can happen. Although we do have this, which can be very useful, especially if we have any others. We don't have any others, unfortunately, but it still could be very useful. So I think we're going to hold on to this one right now. Do we have any other card draw? We do have card draw. So we're going to draw this one and keep that for right now because it can be very helpful for our engine. We're going to place this one down on top of this, I think, or do we want to go below? Because we can do it again. Yeah, that makes sense. We're going to go ahead and tuck this below, which is going to allow us to do this again. Nope. Put it below, hit confirm, and then we can do this again, because you can do it once per round per illuminating symbol over there. So we're going to draw that again. This time we're going to go ahead and discard this one. We're not going with nuclear program. We're going to be hoping to get another. We didn't get it. We did get this one. So we will be able to use this to be able to put that underneath our dirty electric phase out, which means we're going to place that down over there. And we're going to confirm, and then we're going to discard a card to get rid of 3 dirty energy. This does have a cost. I want to keep that in mind. It has a cost, but do we want to do this one over here? No, we're going to go ahead and do that. We're going to confirm that, and we just got rid of 3 dirty energy, but that means that we are running an energy deficit. We need 9 energy each round. We only are providing 6 right now because we decided to phase out energy without an actual backup plan, which isn't great, but I was hoping to have other things happen, and they didn't happen, which is why I could tuck this under here and then use both of these. It's not the way I wanted to do things, but I think it does make sense overall. So now we're going to use this to go ahead and discard this, which is going to generate 2 energy, 1 for each of those power plant symbols. And then we're going to do it again because it doesn't have a limit on it, and we're going to discard that, which means we are now running an energy positive amount over there, and we can go ahead and end our turn because we've used up our actions. Basically, you're running through your cards, and your cards are going to pad cards or boost cards or be abilities to them. We're going to confirm the end of turn, and then you're going to see we generating 7 carbon emissions, meaning we generated 17 because we managed to cut our dirty power over there. We have sequester 10, which means 5 is going to be a full band and 2 more is going to there. For each band, you could have bad things happening. So we're going to go ahead and go through these sequence over here. These, by the way, I should note, by the way, all of the games we're covering today do have tutorials that will walk you through them. Probably should have said that at the beginning of the video, but I'm kind of giving you quick rundowns of how a turn sequence can play out. And with that, it's going to go through all those, and it's a full round of the game. You keep playing rounds until you either win or lose, which brings us to our next game, which is Hadrian's Wall. Hadrian's Wall is not a game that I can really kind of show you how everything plays out at a glance, but I can still walk you through a few turns. Again, I think this is a fantastic game to play. The basic idea over here is you have 2 giant sheets of paper where you're going to be assigning various elements to these sheets over here. This is not for the faint of heart. Again, I said we are ramping up as far as complexity, but it is a very fun game to play on BGA. So if you like BGA and if you like Hadrian's Wall, this is a great game to play. You're going to start each round by choosing one of these. I think I'm going to go for scout columns. I always like finishing off scout columns. You'd have to know what these are, but scout columns are going to be these sections down here. So I'm trying to get all those done. Then we can go ahead, we can be given resources in our top corner, so you can see we have 2 of each meeple over here, plus 3 bricks over here, and we're going to use those towards building things out. This is where, again, I'll just walk you through a quick round over here. At the end of each round, you're going to be drawing cards. Depending on the level of difficulty, you'll be drawing different amounts of cards as the rounds progress, so you need to buff up your walls over here in order to defensively stay ahead of the enemy, because you'll be losing points whenever you don't defend. To that end, I'm going to go ahead and start assigning things. We're going to get this over here. We're going to assign that guy right there. We're going to continue that with this over here, and then this one over here, we're kind of using blue or black meeples to pad out this growth over here. That's going to give us the round 2 over here, which means now if we can have a single blue meeple, we can now earn this, which will give us an ongoing income of 1 yellow meeple per year, plus we're going to get it right away, which I do want to do that, but in order to do that, we need another blue meeple, because it costs a blue meeple, a red meeple, and a brick. To do that, I'm going to go down here and get myself a blue meeple. I'm going to do that by going to this spot over here, because by using your yellow meeples to bump up the citizen tracks, you're going to earn different areas. So each of these citizen tracks is associated with 2 areas of things you can do, which gives you a lot of tools at your disposal. But now I have that, which means I can go ahead and do that, which means I'm now earning a recurrent income of those yellow meeples every single turn. I have 1 red meeple left, but I do have yellow meeples, so I'm going to go ahead and use that red meeple to go up to this spot. Well, if I do get another blue meeple, I could do this, I believe. Yeah, so I think I want to do that. So we're going to go ahead and get another blue meeple by going to this spot, which means I can now go ahead and build out this, which will let me do trades each round in the theater. Because these, if you unlock the theater in the first round, you have the most flexibility from it to be able to get a whole lot of stuff from it. I'm going to go ahead and do the very first trade right now because that's all we're at. I'm going to trade one brick for that 1 spot over there, which is going to buff up on those tracks there. So we got all that done. That moved me up over there. So we go ahead and get, let's go ahead and put that there. And then we have 1 red meeple and 1 black meeple left. We'll use the black meeple to pad the left wall over here. And we have the red meeple, which isn't great for a lot of things. I could use it up here, which is probably where I'm going to use it, even though it doesn't get me that extra thing that I want. At the end of the round, we're going to hit finish the year, and we got, the right. So unfortunately, we did not defend because we only built on the left-hand side. Again, this game is not for the faint of heart. That was 1 round of 6, and the rounds get progressively more complicated as you go through them because you get more and more resources and stuff happening and unlocking more areas on these boards. If this is overwhelming, it makes sense. But once you learn this game, it is incredibly satisfying to play through. Which brings us to our last game, which is Terraforming Mars. Terraforming Mars just plays great multiplayer, but also plays great solo. Again, another great game if you just want to go ahead and dive into a game, playing it solo, knocking these out when you just don't want to be bothered to set things up. Right now I'm playing with Prelude, which means I'm trying to basically complete terraforming across 12 generations. It's 14 in the base game, 12 with Prelude. You're going to choose your starting corporation over here. I like the Saturn systems, but I think it's better for high scoring, as opposed to this one might be better. Maybe not. Ooh, I do like this one. I do like this one, Valley Trust. We're going to go with Valley Trust. That's better, I think, for trying to accomplish our goals over here. And we are going to bump Society Support as well as these. Although Business Empire can be useful too, giving us a lot of income each round at the cost of a one-time... You know what, that is tough to try to decide between. I think the income flexibility is nice, so we're actually going to take this one and discard that one. And then we have to choose from the various cards. This one is later. It's good for later game. That's good for scoring. We'll grab this one over here. That's not as good with our current setup. This one is good. And then I'm choosing a bunch of cards here that can overall help us out. -8 Celsius takes a little bit to get there, but I think it's still worth having. And this one really could be very helpful as far as bumping that up. So honestly, this is not a bad combo of cards. Maybe dumping this one in the favor of being able to keep this one going faster. That's possible. I think we will go ahead and keep all of these cards. We're going to confirm. We're going to start us off. So we chose 4 cards, 2 preludes, and 1 corporation. From there, you're going to go ahead and start with your first turns over here. I'm going to be a little cash shy because I got that additional hit, but I will be placing out our, you see Business Empire is going to deny me 6 coins over there. We're going to place this one out as well. But then as our first action, we are going to be drawing 3 prelude cards, which is very satisfying because it means we get to start off with another prelude card. We could take a one-time cash influx of $21, or we can go ahead with the farming, which is helpful for both our cash as well as for generating those plants. Then again, this is also helpful for both the plant generation. I think I'm going to go with this one because I think the tag is slightly better, and once you get to the end of 5 rounds, it's going to net out the same, and that's not going to help us a lot. So I think this is going to be better for us long term. We'll take that one and go with that. So we got our starting cards over here. We don't have a ton we can do on the first turn because honestly, none of these cards really do I want to play. This one over here is the only one I'd even consider. You must confirm. Okay, great. We could play this card, which is not the worst. I think we might play this card or this one. This is actually a good starting one right now. So let's play that card right now, and hopefully let's get some money back so we can actually play this Soletta next turn. That will help us ramp up our heat production incredibly quickly in the game. Basically, we're trying to terraform the game, which means we want to get our heat all the way up to the top. We want to get our oxygen all the way up to the top, and we want to place all 9 water tiles. The problem is we're doing this solo, which means we're just working with our own economy and only 12 turns to actually accomplish all this, which is going to be incredibly hard. We're going to pass right now, and let's go into the next turn. We'll carry out maybe 3 turns of the 12 and then call it to show you basically how you play. You're going to be given the 4 cards and you can kind of choose what you want. This is another good card to ramp up our heat production. I'm a little worried though our heat's going to drastically outpace everything and our economy is going to be shoved directly into heat and only heat, which I mean honestly, once we're at 7 and 9 and we only have 12 turns, we could afford some more heat. It's not the worst to have some more heat, but I think that it might cost me, which is what I don't love. But if I take this one and this one, this gives me a discount on all of those. I think that's actually a pretty decent combo. We're going to take those 2 over here. We'll see what we can actually play right now because I don't know if I have enough money for it all. That's the tricky part. This is the tricky part where your eyes are bigger than your stomach. I got to do neither of these, but I could play this one to get that discount, or I could play this one. Oh, this is already going to boost our... We're already paying our 8 to boost our thing once already. I think if we do this one now, we could do this. Okay, confirm. We could play this and then not have enough next round, but it does give us that extra 1. I think we're going to do that. It's gonna. I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried. My eyes are bigger than my stomach over here, but we are doing the best we can. We're gonna hit confirm, and I think that's going to be the round. Again, these early rounds will pass quickly. It's gonna slow down a lot as we get more and more things happening. This is helpful, but not enough right now, and I think we're good on that. This could be good later in the game, but I think I'm not averse to having that for later in the game. So we're going to buy 1 card, which means we're going to have an opportunity. We can either directly play this 26, or we can play the 10 to get a discount on it. I think I'm actually going to pay the 26 and ignore the discount for right now, which might cost me, but it's still worthwhile because I think we get the card out early, and so the discount of 2 is not worth that. And that's basically kind of what we're doing over here. That's the first 3 rounds. We just played through 3 generations of the game. You're going to keep doing that until you've played through the entire thing, which again will go pretty quickly as the game progresses. But that is basically that's the game. That's the game, which means I'm now in the middle of 10 BGA games that I have to go and finish. But a quick recap for those coming in at the very end. If you just want that recap, we have Tranquility, an excellent solo game that's going to give you a fun little puzzle to go through. Very simple, plays in like 5 minutes. More than 5 minutes your first time, but once you get used to it, 5 minutes. You're welcome to into your home. Lots of fun. You can knock out a game of this in 10 to 15 minutes when you're playing it solo, and it gets you better at the game of seeing those patterns of what you can achieve, but with a slightly different constraint. We have Harmonies, again, a slightly different constraint as far as the way you're drafting, but past that, the game itself is pretty streamlined and gives you a fun little challenge, and you'll get better at it solo as well. If you do have the game physically, I recommend checking out the homebrew fan-made solo mode. That gives you more objectives, which I really enjoy. We have Trailblazers, fantastic game. This just makes it so easy to play, although I will say I like the tactile nature of arranging cards. I find BGA is a little bit more work to kind of arrange and visualize things, so this is a game I actually prefer in person, but BGA is still super easy. We have Cartographers, a lot of fun. It's basically like playing regular Cartographers, just the only problem is it's beat your own score, which isn't my favorite genre, but I do like playing through this. We have for Northwood, one of my favorite games, and playing it, actually this is another one I like playing. I like playing this one on the table. I like the tactile nature of the cards, but it still is incredibly easy to play through on BoardGameArena. Pandemic is one I don't even own, and it's just so satisfying to go through a whole bunch of just turns on this and just try to see if you can save the world, and as you get better at it, ramp up the difficulty along with it to keep it a challenge for yourself. Then we have Daybreak, which again can be very thinky, a lot going on here, but very satisfying once you start to combo things together. Last time I played this, I won in round 2, which was so much fun because I've never actually done that, and I just had these combos popping off that were incredibly satisfying. Then we have Hadrian's Wall, which is a lot of stuff going on in this game, not for the faint of heart, but if you can jump into this one, it is incredibly satisfying with the sheer amount of complexity to everything you're doing. And then lastly, we have Terraforming Mars, which again is just, trying to build up your personal tableau, but with a timer as opposed to racing against the other players. And those are your 10 great solo games to play on BoardGameArena. This was longer than I planned, but I guess that's what you get for trying to play through a few minutes of each game while talking about them. Until next time, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co. I hope you found something here that's fun to play through. I hope you found something that might be interesting to engage with or to try out. Solo gaming can be a lot of fun, and if you remove the necessity to actually set it up and deal with the table and run it all, sometimes it can be a little easier to dive in. You do have to know what you're doing though, because otherwise it can be less satisfying to just click a bunch of buttons and not really understand how things play out. So I do encourage you to actually learn how these systems work and not rely too much on the computer. But once you do, it can be incredibly easy to play and incredibly satisfying. Until next time, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co. I hope you enjoyed this video, and as always, I hope you have a good one.